Hi, this is TKO Yugioh with Tim and Kevin with special guest John Nugent, fourth place regionals winner. Twice. So we're going to talk about a particular thing. Everyone knows there's a new tin coming out for the Dragon Rulers. All of them come out as secret rares, even though they're just rares, which really makes no sense. But the big news is that BLS and Catastor are getting reprinted. Both of them have been reprinted numerous times, but somehow they're always over $20 to $30. So we're going to talk about whether that's actually good. So there's multiple views. Some people think that it's good for the market because budget players like Kevin, who have no money, can actually afford to make their cheap deck.
When you live
and then there are certain people like John, who are profiteers, and when these cards get reprinted, can't always afford, like who really wants to buy a $1,000 Dragon Ruler deck if it's going to be worth only $300?
In a marketing strike for Konami, it's a very smart idea because they want to attract more players, but then players that come in and saying like, oh my god, this deck is so fucking expensive. How the fuck am I going to afford this deck? So obviously they have these reprints to support these poor players actually. You know, like Frankie. Frankie fucking went minus on a BLS. He sold like half his deck to get one BLS.
Really?
Yeah.
So we had a friend who sold an entire deck. An entire Vanguard deck worth $100 for a $30 card.
It was bad.
It was bad. And the thing is, you could argue that reprints hurt people like that, but at the same time, like that's kind of the risk you take in this game. Like you don't have a right. If I buy a car for $30,000, I don't have a right to my car being worth $30,000 for the rest of my life. But at the same time, who really wants to spend $1,000 on a deck if it's going to be worth $2 in 6 months?
That's exactly what's happened with me with my fucking Draco sack. I don't know if I should sell it right now or not because it shot up. It shot up $100 in like 2 days, and then 2 days later it dropped down $50. So I don't know if I should sell it now.
But at the same time, though, it's kind of the play to win. Like that's the cost of being a top duelist for that 6 month period. But the problem is, should it only be? So should it be? So here's the question though: Should decks cost $1,000 and cost $300 down the line, or should they cost or should Konami kind of control the secondary market? And because Konami knows when these cards are going to be $150 cards, they intentionally do this. Like when you make a card a secret rare, it's going to be a lot of money versus say an ultra or ultimate rare. Look at Judgment. Yeah, look at Judgment, and look at versus say Spellbook of Secrets. Spellbook of Secrets is just as necessary for the Prophecy archetype as say Judgment. But because it's only an Ultra and Ultimate, it's a $10 card. So would the better solution Konami kind of even it out, make decks cost $300 and not print them at all, or should we?
I think that's the strategy that Konami tried to do right now, like with Dragon Rulers and fucking Prophecy. Look at Prophecy. Every card in that deck is hollow. And look at Dragon Rulers. That shit is like every rare and common. So I'm guessing they're trying to balance it out in a way, but the fucking extra deck itself costs $500.
Yeah. And it can only be used with that one particular. It's not like a rank 4 deck. If you get a rank 4 deck, you can always use it. Yeah. Like I can make Utopia. You can always use your Utopia. Yeah. But then there's the other side of it. So because most people would agree that cheap players be able to buy things good. But also there are the people who sell cards. For example, if you live in New York City, you might know of a guy named Max in Chinatown. The reprint market has destroyed his store. So it's good for the players in a certain sense, but if we don't have people who are actually willing to sell us the cards and have these dedicated card shops, it kind of destroys something from the game, in my opinion.
I mean, Konami never thinks about that. They always think about how the business runs. As I said before, reprints help the budget players.
Oh, yeah, they get to sell the card twice. They get to we all buy our $80 boxes, and then 6 months down the line we buy it. And not even that. But here's the thing: I think profiteers don't focus on. A lot of profiteers don't like the reprint market. But what they forget, though, is that other cards go up when cards are reprinted. Everyone remembers Rescue Rabbit and Tour Guide going down when the Tour Guide team went. No one remembers the fact that Sabersaurus and Cabazols and Dracuebas tripled in price. Because out of nowhere, these became budget decks. And everyone wanted to play them. So these cards that were worth nothing because who really wanted them because only the top players could afford the actual other cards, now everyone wanted the Rescue Rabbit. I made a Rescue Rabbit deck.
I mean, look at Toll and Troll. They're buying times $15, but they actually think it was a smart strategy. They're saving up the cards for the future that might be good. Because I remember I went to Toll and Troll. I put all my Super Rejuvenations there. Now them shits are $5 I went to every store in fucking New York. All them shits are sold out. I'm like, you fucking serious?
Exactly. The fact of the matter is that Super Rejuvenations would have gone up either way. But I think the fact that the Dragon Rulers were just normal rares made a lot of people pick up the deck that really wouldn't have. Yeah. Because let's be honest here, if Dragon Rulers had been Ultimate...
Yeah, I would have picked it up. I was just playing
still would have picked it up.
You would have picked it up for Dragon Duel.
Wait, really? You know the amount of dick you had to suck for making that deck?
I've been playing Dragon since the beginning of Yugioh, so I would have kept going.
It would have been... the cost would have easily doubled. And that's the point, though. Like, when it's an impulse buy thing, and when a deck is, I would say that Dragon Rulers are kind of over that because of just how big Draco Stack and Big Eye are.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that if they were ultras and ultimates, and if the babies were super, I would say half as many people would be willing to make the deck because it would have turned an $800 deck into easily a $1,500 deck. Each Dragon Ruler by itself would have been a $30 to $40 card.
I forget. It's how I separate the duels from. It's from the Joy players and Kai players. The best players, obviously, the Kai players because they could afford the expensive deck. That was during Teledeath format. I remember that. I was a Joy duelist. I had a Samurai deck that cost all about $50 in total because I had Great Shogun and all that. And that was back in the day. And Teledeath, oh my god, that shit was 1,000, 1,005. Last one players. I didn't like this game being a money game because the only reason is the people that win they have the money, and
So is the solution? Is there some maybe the solution's in the middle? Maybe it's not that we should have an expensive game with no reprints or a cheap game or no expensive cards at all. Because let's be honest, if there are no expensive cards, Konami will not sell boxes. Because we all remember Cosmo Blazer. The most expensive card was Fire Fist Bear. It was a $50 card. And let's be honest here, who wants to buy a box when
just for a bear?
Just for one bear. Yeah. When you have a 1 in 8 chance, when you don't have a good chance of getting it. And you're most likely going to lose your money. The only reason why we're willing to buy Tachyon Galaxy is because, quite frankly, if you may
it's the most expensive box.
You may pull a Coyote, and you may lose so much money on pulling a Coyote, and you may pull a Cardinal, and that's a $20 card. But if you pull that Draco Sack, you just made up 2 boxes right there.
Even though the regular hollows they still make up the money, right?
Yeah, some of them, but it's
pretty much.
Yeah,
you always break even.
But it's not to the case that
it's not.
This is
if you pull a $200 card, then yeah, it's great. Yeah. But even if you don't, you still made your money back. You still broke even.
You broke even. But a lot of players don't have the time to sell cards. Most people aren't going to their local card shop every week and can sell cards. A lot of them just want to put them on eBay, take their 15% fee cut out of it. And remember, if you sell, let's say you open a box, it costs you $75, and you pull $75 of cards. If you sell the cards, you only get $60. And that's the amount of money you lose. One thing I would like to see if maybe changed is cut the secrets to half.
What? No.
4 secrets a set.
4 secrets? Oh.
So that half of them are actually good.
But then the game will be easier.
But it's a children's card game though.
It is a children's card, but Yu-Gi-Oh is not. We all know Yu-Gi-Oh is not a children's card game. You live in New York. You live in play. I saw a guy pull a gun on a guy just for his deck. This during Teledeath format. You pull a gun for a Teledeath for.
By the way, we encourage no one to pull a gun.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Over a card game.
I'm just saying, but it will. I feel like. Okay, going back to the subject where cutting those secrets in half is the best. It's just I think it's not a horrible idea. It's just that it will encourage less spending. It will encourage less diversity. Honestly,
I mean, maybe it will, maybe it don't. We'll actually probably visit this topic later when we discuss maybe ways for Konami to still make their money but make the game cheaper for players. I don't think this topic will end anytime soon. Players have been debating this topic since Teledeath, pretty much.
No, not the Teledeath. Not even Teledeath. I've been around since Chaos.
It's always been an issue. Money has always been an issue.
Money always been fucking Exodia. I remember that shit was a set for Legend of Blue Eyes. It was pretty fucking expensive.
But tell us what you think in the comments. Feel free to subscribe. Just remember, I'm Tim. This is Kevin, and this is John, and this is TKO Yu-Gi-Oh signing out.